What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we're going to be talking about our expectations for Nick Mullens in Week 3 against New York Giants. Matt, you didn't seem too keen about him in the post-game live. What are you expecting from him in Week 3?
I expect him not to give the game away, and that's like the best that I can hope for. I've been telling people, we've all heard the calls for Nick Mullens to replace Jimmy Garoppolo, and I've been telling people, be careful what you wish for. There's a reason why this guy was undrafted. There's a reason why that Jimmy is very much clearly the starter, no matter how many interceptions he throws during practice. Nick Mullens wasn't going to beat out Jimmy for this job. There's a reason for that. He has a noodle arm. We saw it on display, and people would be like, yeah, but he threw over the middle with velocity. Anybody can do that. That's a standard throw. When you're talking about a real NFL throw, it was on display. I believe it was Ross Dwelly ran a 15-yard out, and he was open, and Nick Mullens couldn't get the ball there in time. It got broken up at the last second because Nick Mullens put so much air under the ball that you thought he was, moving that house. Like the ball just fluttered and floated, and by the time it got there, the DB was able to break it up. The interception, he was tangled around by his ankles and didn't have enough arm strength to get the ball to where it needed to go. Jimmy Garoppolo might have been able to get it there. For as much as people want to bash on Jimmy had people around his ankles all game, and he was making throws. So the best you can hope for is that with a full game for them to get cadences down and for Nick to really have plays installed that suit his strengths, that they can beat up on, a very mediocre and injured Giants team, and so they can go home with a 2-1 record and hope that Jimmy can play in Week 4. Other than that, I mean, he's gutty, but talented, not really.
Yeah, I was watching, I forget which one of these ESPN morning shows, and they were saying, look, when you have a backup come in, you hope to win 50% of the games that he starts. That if you win 50% of the games that your backup's starting, you should feel good about that. So I think that's a pretty good expectation, is for him not to throw the game away, especially this week when the 49ers should decidingly win against the Giants no matter what. I know that they're without Mostert, and they're likely going to be without Kittle and Coleman as well. But still, this 49ers team is still a large gap ahead of the Giants team as far as talent-wise. But I was looking up some of Mullens' stats when he was a starter back in 2018 for that little bit after Garoppolo tore his ACL. And it looks like he had some all right stats. He was 64.2% completion rate, 2,227 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Not great there. But where he kind of did shine a little bit was he was third among NFL quarterbacks with 12.9 yards per completion and had a bad throw percentage of 13.2, which was fifth lowest. Do you think that's kind of like a one-hit wonder, a bit of a fluke, and it doesn't really represent him as a player right now?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at that schedule, he played the Raiders. He played a bad Giants team. He played a bad Buccaneers team. They got smoked in that game, actually. He played the Seahawks. They played a bad Broncos team. I mean, just the list goes on and on. They did not play good teams during that stretch. So it's not like Nick Mullens was going up against these like world beaters and, this and this and that. Plus, when nobody has tape on you, it's again, we've seen it before. When you don't have tape, you don't know what to expect with a guy. And so he got away, and everybody hangs their hat on that 34-3 win over the Raiders. That, pretty much was the last battle of the Bay, because, the Raiders now in Vegas. By the way, that stadium looked amazing on Monday Night Football. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of a fool's gold, so to speak, because, 62%, that's okay. It's not fantastic. You'd like to see a little better. But, again, you have to pare down the playbook. You have to limit what you can do. We talk about Jimmy not being able to throw a deep ball. Wait until you see Nick Mullens try to throw it to the sideline. It is not going to look pretty. It's one of those things where you just hope that he can hold down the fort just long enough to tread water. Again, that was a great thing that you said, win 50% of your games for your backup is the best you can hope for. So I think that's the best that we can hope for, is that we get by the Giants and then don't have to play that second game with him. Because if he has to go against the Eagles for as, kind of screwed up as that team is right now, I don't think that he can pull out a win against the Eagles.
Yeah, it's like trying to capture lightning in a bottle, especially with him, because it's like, just like you said, fans think of Nick Mullens, they automatically go back to that. I believe it was a Thursday night matchup against the Raiders when he started and he just lit the team on fire. But it almost reminds me of like a cult classic of a show that got one season and then it got canceled, and fans are like, "But that show was so good for that one season." But it's like,
Right.
if it would have gone on to more seasons, it likely wouldn't have been as coveted and liked. So I just think of Nick Mullens as a guy who's capable. He's a quality backup. He's not going to be a guy that's going to lead this team and pull a Tom Brady and suddenly become a Super Bowl MVP. You know, it's not going to be that for Nick Mullens. Sorry to break it to you, Nick Mullens fans out there. He's a good backup. He's better than CJ Beathard, that's for sure. And obviously Shanahan agrees since he's above him on the depth chart, but he's no Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo right now is not an elite quarterback. So that kind of says a lot about Mullens. But some of his throws on Sunday, Matt, you talked about.
Now, hold on. Jimmy played like an elite quarterback on Sunday with a bum ankle.
He played good.
Don't let that Arizona game, just like we don't want the Raiders game to make everybody think don't think that Arizona game was Jimmy. Again, he looked so crisp against the Jets, even with the injury that, it's one of those, the whole thing with Jimmy is we don't know. The one thing I will say about Nick Mullens, though, to remember is that in 2018, Nick Mullens had George Kittle setting the tight end record for yards in a season, and George Kittle is not going to be there this week. So he's going to have to rely on Jordan Reed and, try to get Brandon Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne into the action. But other than that, again, no Raheem Mostert. Matt Breida's in Miami. So you're talking about a lot of playmakers that carried him throughout that season that aren't going to be there. So you're going to get a raw look at what Nick Mullens really is. And I think that when 49ers fans see all the warts, they're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever called for him. And they're going to go run right back to Captain Jawline when he comes back. So again, be careful what you wish for, fans, because it's going to be ugly on Sunday, no matter which way it goes.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But I wasn't trying to, downplay Jimmy's talent or how his performance on Sunday. I just mean overall, he's not a top 3 quarterback right now.
No.
But I'm just saying that compared to Nick Mullens because he's not even anywhere close to Jimmy as far as talent wise. But I think Kyle Shanahan, he was asked in the press conference, I believe yesterday, is it going to be a limited playbook? Are you not going to be able to kind of give it everything? And Kyle Shanahan was kind of coy about it. He's like, we always use a full playbook. It's just a matter of what we put into the game plan. Obviously, the question was, are you not putting things into your game plan that you would for Jimmy? And
right.
Exactly. So he was kind of dancing around it, but he's obviously going to have him on a short leash. And like you said, no Coleman, no Mostert. So I would look for Jet to have a big game in this game, or at least have a lot of attempts in this game, because they're going to be leaning on that running game. And for Nick Mullens' sake, that offensive line better block a lot better than it did on Sunday, because the running game, they did not do a good job blocking it. And the passing game, Jimmy was beat up every single time he dropped back. He was on the floor, and that led to him getting injured. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you think that he is going to be able to escape a bad offensive line, or do you think largely his play will be dependent on that offensive line playing well?
It's going to be dependent on the offensive line, and it's going to be dependent on Cargo Plane McKinnon. I'm not going to call him Jet. He's not fast anymore. Still has good wiggle, but he's not fast. And then you got to see what you can get out of some of these other guys. Like, you hear good things about guys like Jermichael Hasty, who they protected on the practice squad from being snatched up. So maybe he comes in and makes a difference. Running backs in the league seem to be pretty plug and play. So, if you do that, I expect actually one guy that I expect to be in the rotation more this week is Kyle Juszczyk. I think Kyle Juszczyk is, can be really utilized well in terms of helping out Nick Mullens, whether that be if he's, checking for, check blocking and then releasing, or coming out of the backfield on those wheel routes that he loves to catch, or coming across the formation like he does. I think Juszczyk has yet to be really utilized in a significant way, and I think it's time to dial up some plays for him. He's got to earn that money too. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's going to need all the help he can get, that's for sure. But I think that's going to do it for us today, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, support the channel. Make sure you like this video, share this video. Make sure you comment below. Also, your thoughts on Nick Mullens and what he can do this Sunday against New York Giants.
Go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And until next time, go Niners.